There's a reward for solving problems, and I believe your biggest problem is your greatest opportunity. Welcome to Thrival Now. My name is Andrea, and I am here to encourage and challenge you on your journey going from survival to thrival, or from surviving to thriving, but I like that word thrival, I always have. I thought I was the only one that made it up, but apparently a few other people had too. So we are exploring that. We're just exploring what it takes to thrive in our daily life in every area: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual. But I hope that you will find fuel for your story to live a meaningful life. So hope you join us again. And if you're coming back, I appreciate it. I value your time. I know it's a gift. This is the second video in a series I'm doing on how your biggest problem is your greatest opportunity. Basically my life message, I feel like, and what I have lived for about 15 years. So I don't speak of this lightly. I feel like I have lived it in a lot of different ways. And yeah, today I just want to, if you didn't see the first video, I encourage you to check it out. I'll have a specific playlist for these 4 videos, but this is the second one. And in the last video, I detailed kind of the summary and what provoked this paradigm shift in my life. And today I want to just underscore the fact that there are rewards for solving problems. But before I speak about the rewards, I have to just lay the foundation, and that is that everything you see around you is a solution to a problem. Cars solve transportation problems, cell phones solve communication problems, refrigerators solve food storage problems. Whatever you see from where you're sitting right now, I would venture to say that everything you see or everything you can touch, everything you can hear solves some sort of problem in your life. So in that sense, what surrounds us is are solutions to problems. The second thing I want to highlight is how you spend your time on a daily basis. Without a doubt, you invest your time to solve your problems or someone else's problems. You might be paid money for that. It might be a part-time or full-time job or a few different hustles. And it might be something where you volunteer your time, but you are solving problems for someone else or for yourself. And generally speaking, all the people we interact with on a daily basis are in our life because they're solving a particular problem for us. Lawyers solve legal problems, doctors solve medical problems, mechanics solve mechanical problems. I mean, just work your way down the list. Any job occupation, any business you can think of solves a problem in your life in a particular area. And so so everything around us, there are solutions to problems in our tangible world around us. And then the services that we trade on a daily basis, the interconnected web of our lives is built around our capacity to solve problems for ourselves and solve them for other people. Now I want you to look at the fact that there are 3 different rewards that you can receive for solving problems. There are financial rewards. That's the easiest and probably easiest one to talk about and is most tangible. But then there are social rewards, which often are, I would say, in the areas of honor and esteem that we give to people in different professions and for their skill and experience in solving certain problems. People that become renowned and famous for that expertise and their skill. We have things like people that receive the Nobel laureate prizes, Nobel Peace Prizes, research prizes, right? Scientists that have discovered new things, or they might not make the most money, but they are heralded and given acclaim for that work. There are, and then there's intrinsic rewards. So financial, social, and intrinsic rewards. Intrinsic being the satisfaction that you feel for doing something well, doing something meaningful, even doing things that are very difficult. I would say that parents raising children probably or have the least paid job in the world. In fact, they pay to have that job. They are investing money in their children all day long and year after year. But most parents would say that they reap great rewards, and some of the greatest and best rewards in their life are their children. And so that's not a financial reward, but it is the joy of having children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So social or financial, social, and in those intrinsic rewards. Now I want you to consider the fact that that reward, the size of that reward, whatever it is, or all of those together, because I'm not saying that they're independent, but different rewards, for solving different rewards, you receive different degrees of each of those, perhaps. But the rewards that are tied to solving problems are those rewards that are tied to solving problems increase as you are able to solve more difficult problems, as you solve those problems faster, and as you solve more problems for more people and expand your reach in that regard. So if nothing else, I want you to begin to consider this again, that your biggest problem is your greatest opportunity. Whatever you're facing in life, or multiple types of problems, begin to look at what is the gift within that problem? What is, there's so many cliche phrases, I know, but what is that pearl in that difficulty that you can mine and you can use in the future? And how could that launch you into something you never imagined before? And so I want to speak to the financial rewards in my own life and give you a couple examples, because it's the easiest to speak of in one sense, because it's very tangible. But when I started out, as I've already detailed in some of these videos, my first profession of sorts was in the outdoor industry as a wilderness guide and outdoor educator, and I worked for adventure tourism programs, education programs, and wilderness therapy. And so when I first got going, I made $30 to $60 a day. Most people would not work for that, but I chose to work for that small amount of financial reward, in part because the intrinsic reward that I received for the nonprofit program I started off with was significant. And the second was that I was going to receive the reward of an educational reward, which I've never really thought of, but in this moment it strikes me that is a type of reward that we could add to that list. But there was a reward in increasing my capacity in that field, or in my field. And so I worked for a number of years in that industry, and I had an experience where I was interviewing a number of key leaders in that field. And one mentor I met with on a repeated basis, almost weekly basis for one season, and they were very renowned in that industry. And I had an opportunity to pick their brain. I was really digging into leadership and studying leadership at the time. And they made an offhand comment about their journey and told me how when they moved from the wilderness guiding arena to having a family and in a different season of life, they started working more in the leadership and management side, that they had started an executive management firm. And at that point, they were consulting for programs all over the country, adventure tourism, and making $3,000 a day. And that blew my mind. I didn't know anybody that was making $3,000 a day, or who ever had. Or maybe I did, but I didn't know it, and I'd never talked numbers with them. So the other side is, I guess I have known a few successful people, but they were never open about this kind of stuff. But in that moment, I just heard that and was like, wow, what am I going to do after, when I have a family in the next season of life? I don't want to be leading 21, 46-day trips. I want to be with my family. I want to spend time with them. And I want to take the skills and everything I'm doing in the outdoor industry and use them in a new way. How do I transfer those skills, and what would I enjoy doing? And I thought, I would love to figure out how to do management consulting. And so I walked out of that meeting and I said to myself, one day I'm going to make $3,000 a day. One day I'm going to be a management consultant. And I honestly almost forgot about that until years later, finding those notes and finding those journals, I was reminded of it. It was really powerful. But what I want to point out is that my growth financially has never been linear. I've had these staircase leaps and bounds where I would jump up, plateau for a period of time, jump up to another level and plateau. And each time I've made a leap, I would say it has easily been a 10x, sometimes a 20x leap. But the three that I'll highlight was that beginning, starting in my early 20s, making $30 to $60 a day. And less than 10 years later, 8 years later or something like that, when I made my leap into entrepreneurship and had my first full-fledged business running, I started making $300 to $600 a day. Had staff and different things happening, but the only way I made that leap was radically changing my thinking. Fast forward another, I don't know, it was probably another 5, 6, 8 years. And by then I had 3 full-fledged businesses with my husband as a management consultant. We had a couple food trucks and we have a creative renovation business. And we were making $3,000 to $6,000 a day. And I can look back and see that leap from $30 to $60 a day to $300 to $600 a day to $3,000 to $6,000 a day. I remember the first day that I billed out my first daily rate as a management consultant at $3,000 a day. And it was such an amazing feeling of accomplishment. And the first client that I did that with was one of my repeat clients for years. And so I know that I was solving rewards for them. I was solving problems for them. They came back repeatedly to me to work with me and work with their management team. And so, you know, I went on to work with many multi-million-dollar companies and doing management consulting on that level. And it's been a source of joy. It's been a source of gratification in my life. And it's something I take pride in. And now taking those same skills and doing them in a different sphere, it's a whole new learning curve, as I detailed even recently, the whole thing about a beginner's mind. And so, you know, it's one thing to go from one arena where you're super skilled and you have expertise and take that into a new arena and transfer those skills. And it can be a challenge. But the fact that I want you to hang on to is that when you change your thinking, you change your life. It sounds cliche, but nothing could be truer. When you change your thinking, you change your life. And I encourage you and I challenge you to begin to look at the problems around you as opportunities, because there is a lot of reward that you can experience, financial, intrinsic, the social rewards, and even educational. I never thought of it in that same way till just now. But there are, and maybe you could add more to it that I haven't thought of. So throw those out in the comments. But there are rewards for solving problems, and the bigger problems you can solve, not only for yourself but for other people, the bigger the problems you solve for yourself or other people, the greater those rewards are going to be. And so I know that you were made to solve problems, and I am here to fuel you on that journey, fuel your story. I love that phrase. And so look with new eyes, get a new perspective, get a new paradigm that your biggest problem is your greatest opportunity.